personal helicopters up there. Capturing the image. 3 of them lent to us by Morley Benbat. Unfurl the banner, so and the people put your banners down.
Over there, put that
Use
over
your
there.
arms to put
You get that, pull that tight.
the banner across, just
Oh,
like
hi
a
guys.
football match. After 3,
Unbelievable,
2,
unbelievable. Can't believe the turnout we've had
Okay,
today.
start to pass it
Can't
across.
believe the turnout we've had today. Unbelievable for this
Just feed it to
unrolling
each
of
other.
a promotion. Safe social distancing out the window.
We have a camera and a helicopter capturing this moment.
Hey, you put those over there and pull that back, yeah? Blimey, unbelievable response to our call out. We put a shout out on social media, Twitter this morning. Everybody's come down. It's just fantastic, the support we're getting for our event here tomorrow. Unbelievable. You want to see what these guys have done and what the people, what the community have created, co-created this morning. It really is just incredible. I'm breathtaking, absolutely speechless. Unbelievable response there. Looks like a bit just dropped off. What happened there? That's not good. Wow. Well, here we are. Parliament Square. My goodness, it's amazing. You put a shout out, the response you get is just incredible. Here I am at the foot of Churchill's statue, so proud. I mean, to see the news, to see that 100th birthday announcement this morning, that incredible old soldier there. Generals, governors, people, working people, leaders, everybody coming together today to celebrate his amazing efforts. And here I am. I mean, we've just saw all sorts of people speaking. I mean, people like Lord Heseltine himself said a few years ago, if you need an industrial strategy, start in primary school. Winston Churchill said during the war, when they wanted more money for arts, he said, well, what's it all for then if we can't have art and culture? We've got a battle on our hands, we've got a war on our hands with this damn virus, but we're not going to let it defeat us. We need to stand up against the virus. We need to educate, we need to create, we need to connect, and that's what art is really all about, and that's why we're here. We're going to be tomorrow in Parliament for a Parliament launch, and hang on. Hello, yeah, that's me. Sorry. From whose office? Well, Centre our... Yeah, well, it's a Parliament launch, yeah. Well, it's not really... Okay, yeah, we've done it in a bit of PowerPoint and some green screen and stuff, but it's not really Parliament. Well, we're not allowed to say it's Parliament. Well, okay, virtual Parliament. Can we say virtual Parliament? No, because there is a real virtual Parliament. What, the government are in virtual Parliament at the moment? All that video conferencing. Right, okay. Sorry, guys, hang on. So what can we call it? A pretend Parliament. Pretend, okay, well, that's fair enough. I mean, maybe imaginary or so. Yeah, okay, we'll leave it with me. I'm not being funny, but I'm really in the middle of a live stream at the moment in Parliament, well, in a pretend Parliament Square, yeah. Is that, okay, so let me crack on. I'll sort it out with her later on. I'm really sorry, and we'll do, yeah, okay, I'm really sorry, I've got to go. Yeah, thanks for your call. I'll speak to you later. Thanks, we'll do it by email, because I'm just not going to have time to do it. I'm doing all this on my own. I can't do it. Yeah, thanks, bye-bye, yeah, cheers. Sorry about that. One of our the team for one of our speakers put a bit of a call in there, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's go up to the room in pretend Parliament then and see what's going on. And here we are in our looks like we're in our pretend Parliament by the sound of it. Committee room 14, where we had a fantastic event a year or so ago. Unbelievable time we had there then, and no different this year. I mean, our guest of honour, the person opening this, is somebody I'm very proud to know very well, a woman who is a councillor in the area in Paddington that we live, where we started Steamco. Absolutely blown away to announce that the Lord Mayor of Westminster, Councillor Ruth Birch, is going to be opening our event here in our pretend Parliament, our imaginary Parliament, whatever, let's just say Parliament, asterisk, tomorrow. amazing woman. She's done amazing things, achieved amazing things for this ward, for the community, and hopefully for the rest of the country through her influence in such esteemed office. So she's going to be opening the event. We've got young people speaking with her and during her performance. It's going to be unbelievable, absolutely fantastic. We're honoured. I mean, for what it's worth, we don't do party politics here at Steamco. We're grateful for all the support we get. We find the policies are what are important, and some policies with some parties seem more in line with what we're talking about. But for us, it's about, as you saw in that poster there, the Elton John poster, it's about art for all. Access to art, a human right, the ability to express yourself using art, which we see as the combination of creativity and tools or technology and people. Creativity, tools and people. And that's what this is about. And the fantastic news with the Lord Mayor is that she's the first ever Labour councillor to be given that office, to hold that office. She wasn't given it, she's worked for it. Apologies for that slip. Incredible honour to have her speaking tomorrow and opening the event. We're delighted, and we're going to be hopefully announcing. We have invited the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, Digital Culture, Media and Sport. We're hoping that Arthur Dowden can join us in some way or other. He'd be very welcome. The DCMS office is a major supporter and fan of the creative industries and creativity in education. We would also extend an invitation to the Department of Education, because a lot of work is going on at the moment in the Oak Academy with the creative and the art culture curriculum in there. And as one of our advisors, Jimmy Rotherham, says, Mr. Nick Gibb, the schools minister, literally holds the keys to creativity in this country. His is the policy, his is the direction, his is the ideology, and his is the job to unleash this. This isn't about education, it's not about party politics. As I say, it's about policy. And one of the challenges for creativity and art in our schools is, to a certain degree, government policy. Many believe the EBAC and certain frameworks and possibly resulting in narrowing of the curriculum. But we believe far greater than that, far greater than anything at Mr. Gibb or Gavin Williamson's control in the Department of Education, far greater than that is ignorance. Well, maybe that's a harsh word. When I say ignorance, maybe I should say lack of awareness by many parents and many teachers of the power of art, creativity, technology and people, to inspire their children and help them achieve academically in school, to create careers and to fuel the economy. And the creative industries are responsible for powering the economy in this country. 130 odd billion before the virus hit, and I know that the Creative Industries Federation are working tirelessly to campaign for that sector in the current crisis, because there's a very good chance we could lose a lot of that important industry sector. And the third thing is the power of art to connect communities. And tonight we will stand on our doorsteps, we will clap for those brave carers on the front line. In the National Health Service, the doctors, the nurses, the porters, the ancillary workers, the kitchen staff, the taxi drivers, the bin men, the postmen, the teachers, the school leaders, the teaching assistants, the site managers in our schools who are also on the front line, protecting our country, supporting key workers, supporting this country at this critical time. So delighted to have the Lord Mayor speaking tomorrow. Just had confirmed one of the most inspiring, one of the most generous and one of the biggest supporters of Steamco, a man who is always there when we need him, and we don't use these credits lightly. The mighty Tom Morley, one of the most amazing rock stars in the world, from a band called Scritti Politti just a few years ago. But he now works tirelessly inspiring business leaders in innovation workshops. He works tirelessly in community workshops, working with us and some school work as well. Keynote speaker, and I believe soon to be an author. So we are delighted that Tom Morley is joining us after Ruth Bush, after the Lord Mayor of Westminster, to open the day, to get everybody absolutely buzzing. So that will be fantastic. This is another level altogether. I don't know if you've seen the TED Talks, but there's one by a gentleman called Professor Sugata Mitra, which talks about how education needs to evolve to meet this changing world. And never more has there been a time to reevaluate the way education needs to change. And already the Department of Education are working hard on a virtual school, the Oak National Academy that they've established in incredible timescales with a fantastic bunch of teachers and some brilliant new content. And hopefully that will be a foundation that other people can collaborate with and add to reflect the diverse nature of the curriculum and the broad and balanced curricula on offer in many of our schools, but most certainly which our children will need. And we have an offer with our Rocket Kids Club, which we'll talk about tomorrow, which could enhance and complement that as well. And we look forward to the chance to speak with and collaborate with the Department of Education on that. So Professor Sugata Mitra is currently in Calcutta, but he is going to be joining us using the wonders of our art, our combination of creativity, technology and people in our community lock-in, provided and sponsored initially with the support of LGFL. Unbelievable. So Sugata Mitra, that is going to be a world first. He won $1 million from the TED Talks people to build a granny cloud. Next up, we've got, who's this? Who's that? Professor who? Apparently that's the pitch. I'm sorry about this. That's the pitch. Is that the pitch? What? That's the pitch he sent. Okay, so this is another professor, Professor Stephen Heppel, who's a global expert on education. Also, particularly the work I've seen of his particularly inspiring is his use of educational environments and settings and buildings. Well, if you redesigned a school at the moment, would it be a building? Would it be a room, to quote somebody like Graham Brown Martin, who's spoken for us in the past? If we're re-evaluating, if we're redesigning schools, where do we start? With the blankest piece of paper, I'd imagine. So that would be fantastic. Stephen, can we get a decent photograph for him for tomorrow, please? Especially if he doesn't turn up. Because yeah, so sort that, please. Sorry, guys, can't get the stuff. The next, what is this? I asked you to get photos of these people. Okay, I'm really sorry about this. This is one of the most inspiring educators we know. One of the most generous people, warmest people. Carol Allen from Newcastle, Tyneside there, is an incredible educator around creativity for special needs children. She's the sort of person who could pull a handkerchief out of your pocket and suddenly run 3 workshops, 3 activities. Unbelievable. And she makes something out of nothing, like the best mother possibly could, but certainly like the best educator, the best teacher. So we're looking forward to hearing some insight from Carol tomorrow as well. It's actually her mum's 91st birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Granny Allen. Is that appropriate? Grandma Allen, we have a lovely day from everybody here in the virtual, wonderful, imaginary world of STEAMco. Next one, who's that? That's Nishma Robb from Google. She's not confirmed. I told you she's not confirmed. I'd love her to speak, but we haven't heard from her for a while. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Google have been incredibly supportive. Maybe, can we play that video later? Put the video, roll the video, get it lined up. We'll play the video because she's been amazing. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Google. They get a bit of stick here and there. Sometimes their software's not as good as it needs to be, a couple of bugs, permanent beta, whatever, but we get there in the end and we run our stuff on Google. It works for us, our email, though we do have to pay for it. Can we sort that out? Why do we're non-profit? We haven't got the right, okay, we haven't got the right credentials for non-profits with American companies, not to worry. Google have been great. I mean, but Steve Renakis, their former European creative director, supported our first ever event at the Royal Institution, gosh, 5-6 years ago, the Kid Crafters event. Nishma supported our first ever event in Liverpool with Sir Ken Robinson, and literally on a Monday night came through and made that event possible because we had no way of doing it otherwise, and we filmed that and we're still using those films today. And in fact, yesterday, we streamed a film of Sir Ken Robinson talking about his inspiration in Liverpool and how he was inspired by football, the Liverpool poets, Frank McGough, football, how he was also inspired by the Everyman Theatre, how he was inspired by football, being Liverpudlian, obviously football's always in there, and a bloke called Ken Dodd as well, and I think football was an influence in his life as well, so being a Liverpudlian, that was brilliant. So Nishma made that possible, and they also supported our King's Cross event, being based in King's Cross. So we're hoping that other organisations like Google, maybe even Google again, could step up and help us with a big plan of work we've got for the summer. So stay tuned for that. Can you give Nishma a ring and see if she can do it? She's busy, but she'll probably be at home because her son and daughter, or they're twins, I think. They're absolutely lovely kids and really super mum. Really inspiring woman, actually, Nishma. And the thing about Nishma is that we need to connect the rest of the world with these education bubbles, echo chambers as we call them. And people like Nishma and Gordon Young at the drum and the guys at It's Nice That and Dazine are the bridge to that. Pip Jameson at the Dots, Mark Earl, strategic planner, thinker. We've got to get this conversation about creativity. Everybody says they value creativity, but nobody seems to care about kids and creativity or schools and creativity. So what we've got to do is build those bridges between education and business, particularly the creative industries. And people like Nishma have been fantastic, and we need to build on that. Who else have we got? Oh, John Jackson, he's fantastic. Well, look, watch out with John Jackson, because if ever you get a robot out or a bit of merch like a robot, a rocket or a robot, John Jackson's all over it. He's the CEO at an organisation called LGFL. A month ago, all my work was cancelled. I had a few speaker gigs, we had school visits, summer tour, all cancelled overnight. And we had one speaker gig lined up with LGFL, who are London's Grid for Learning. Basically, they're the internet provider for London, but now increasingly the UK. And they don't just provide bits of cable like some telecoms companies do. They provide content, inspiring curriculum content, amazing 3D and lesson plans, and they provide tools. So any one of their schools that signs up for broadband with them gets free access to the Adobe products, Premiere, Photoshop, Adobe Rush. And over the next few weeks, we're going to be showing you how to use mobile phones to make the videos that you see that we've got here. That video at the beginning, that was all done in Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, a little bit of Rush, but hey, well, anyway, don't start me, because I love all this stuff. So John stepped up and said, look, Nick, why don't we run this as a virtual event? So we're hoping still, I mean, times are tight, because they've now been dragged into this massive DFE, Department of Education project. We're hoping that we can still run an education technology event with them, people like Education Technology UK, our mate Ty Goddard, amazing education technologists like ICT Mark Anderson, who was on the other day in one of our shows, sharing all this content, because we need to connect people, we need to celebrate what they're doing, and we need to share it. And that's what that event will all be about. So hopefully we'll do that. So hopefully John, he's one, oh my goodness, he takes some pinning down. I'll believe it when I see it. Fortunately, his PA lives very close to him most of the time, so she can sort of kick him where's appropriate. Okay, so good luck with John. We're hoping we can get... I told you Matt Hancock is no longer at the Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport. I told you not to put... This is serious stuff. He's at the NHS. He's in the front line on the coronavirus thing. And you're going to slap him in a PowerPoint. Sorry about this. I'm tempted to actually just delete that, but I'm not going to. I'll tell you why, because Matt has been brilliant to us. Matt did a short talk for us actually when we did an event in Ironbridge. We let us go into his office at the Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport, and he renamed it from DCMS to DDCMS. Cool, blimey, nothing like a 5-letter acronym on a Thursday morning. It's afternoon already. Did we start late? Oh well, those films don't make themselves, do they? Matt Hancock, we went in and did a 5-minute film with him, an interview all about creativity and the importance of art and technology and creativity to play at a launch event we held in Ironbridge. Can you run that film after as well? Yeah, you got that with the BBC live, yeah. So we're going to add that to it. We're going to show a few films at the end of this just to get you in the mood, a bit of a pre-roll, post-roll, whatever they call it in the media business. And check this out, Matt Hancock, I saw this on the news the other day actually, because he did one of his briefings in his office. Just scratched my, whoop, don't want to reveal my hair. It's a bit out of control under there. I've got to keep this helmet on. It's not just a hard hat area, it's a bad hair area. Matt has that picture, Damien Hirst spin painting picture behind him at his desk at the Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sport, and now at the NHS or Department of Health, whatever it's called. And we saw that and we used that as inspiration, and we had 300 kids spinning spin paintings with Dr. Spin in our spin painting activity on photocopies of the Queen's Head, which we then cut out and stuck on I Love Art t-shirts. And yesterday I had one on, but I can't wear a t-shirt 2 days in a row, my wife says, so I've got a different one on today. Whatever. So that's how these connections get made. That's how art can inspire, how we can connect, and how the inspiration, the generosity, the support of a government minister, Matt Hancock today, could be somebody else next week, whatever, can inspire us. And that's why we really want to see Oliver Dowden, because we want to show how we can connect and create and inspire and do things together. We're better together, let's face it. And Jeremy Wright, his predecessor, kicked off the whole Art Connects 19 Festival, Collaborate 20 Festival, Inspire Nation 21, then Festival 22. But stop me if I bore you, because I'm not supposed to be talking about that yet. So next one is, come on, look, you've got to check this out. I sent you an email. A Shot for Swanee is not speaking. Deep breath. A Shot for Swanee is the CEO of Barclays. Generously, they hosted an event for us at the top of Barclays Tower, 4 or 5 years ago, and we had them Cisse there, with Ty Goddard was in the audience just drinking all the beer, I think, and eating all the twiglets. That's where they went. Hannah Wilson was there, Jazan Bafar, Action Jackson, Grace Snape, Marva Rollins, everybody. It was just brilliant. Brilliant evening. We filmed it. It's all on our website. Unbelievable. And at that event, Ashok Vaswani said, should we be teaching our kids a third language, a traditional language like Latin or Greek? Or should we be teaching them computer code? Should we be teaching them to empower themselves digitally? Because it's all about not digital enablement, but digital empowerment. You don't just give people tools, you give them the ability to do something with them. And that's where our art thing. So this is just a piece of plastic with 20 motors in it until a programmer, a coder, a kid learns how to code it and bring this thing to life. Now, just because you learn to code a robot, it doesn't mean to say you need to be a robot engineer. But in the future, the teachers will need to know how robots work because I need to teach kids how robots work. They might have a robot working with them in the class, whatever, so that teachers can still do what they do best. And that's collaborate and facilitate and curate and inspire and connect and lead a class and not just teach them nonsense knowledge by rote. And that's why learning to code robots is inspiring. In fact, JD, we'll give one of these away at the end of the month. But there is research, probably not the most robust, knowing Dennis who did it, sorry Dennis, research that shows that JD gets more girls coding because of its humanoid type form than most of those kind of little mechanical metal Meccano type robot things you see. So we are going to be doing a lot of work with JD. We're going to be teaching kids how to code JD over the coming weeks. So Ashok Vaswani probably isn't speaking. We'd love him. I mean, they just did some stuff with Ian Wright and their digital code playground and their digital eagles. Great bunch. We do a lot with them. Can we roll that film, you know, the one in Bearwood in Dorset? Yeah, show that because that's brilliant. How we collaborate with Ashok Vaswani's 15,000 odd digital eagle team. Oh, here we go. Now this guy is speaking. This is one of the best loved children's authors in the UK. Piers Torday. Unbelievable generosity. He's come through and he said he's going to speak for us tomorrow as well. So we've got a little bit of everything. We really, really have. But the most important people there tomorrow, after you, of course, because we'd be nothing without an audience, although, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Do I look like I care if nobody turns up to watch it live? Not really, because we're streaming it, we're saving it, it'll go on our channel. I did this yesterday. 30 people watched it live. 60 people had watched it by lunchtime, 200 people by tea time, and nearly 1,000 by this morning. That's how it works now. Everything's up in the air. Everything's up in the air. We don't gather children in one place for a teacher to spew knowledge at them. We facilitate, we provide access to content, we structure lessons, we give them plans, we monitor, we measure, and we perform, and off we go. And that is what the world is going to look like. No, the most important people tomorrow are people like this. What you've got here are a couple of young girls and their mum in Westminster who I bumped into the other day. And they came involved and they helped us launch a thing called the Rocket Kids Club, which is a social media platform that we are launching, a bit like a Space Face page, if you like, without wanting to use too many trademarks and get an IP slap on me from YouTube. And basically, we're going to build a safe online community for kids and creative carers to be inspired, to create and to share. And every day in the next month, we're going to set a creative activity in an hour in the morning, teach the kids how to do it, give them some ideas to inspire them. They're then going to do that activity, and then at 2 o'clock we're going to review it and give them a chance to be famous on our website. And we've got the CEO, Benji, of a company called Disciple, who have built a space Facebook type page application, a bit like that Facebooky type thing you've probably heard of, but your own. So you can put your own logos on it, your own branding, build your own community, and we're building one of those for the Rocket Kids Club. We need 100 people to try that over the next 2 weeks, and we're going to be going live hopefully sometime in the next month when we're confident it's safe and it works and people like it. And every week somebody's going to get the chance to redesign the logo and the branding for it, so it's going to be owned by the community as well, and the look and feel. Now what you're seeing here is an amazingly generous man, Homer Hickam, who wrote this book. He wrote that book there, Rocket Boys, which is a story of 4 boys who didn't want to be coal miners, saw a Sputnik in the sky, learnt to make rockets, and ended up working for NASA in the 1950s and 60s. He has agreed to become the patron of the Rocket Kids Club, and this is what happened last Friday when we announced that.
20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition
8,
sequence
7,
start.
6, 5, 4, 3, 1. Whoa! Can you see that?
Oh, wow.
Can you see it? Whoa!
I know. Look at you.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So yes, very, very proud to have Homer Hickam as the patron of the Rocket Kids Club, our new safe place for kids and their creative carers to learn, be inspired and to create together and share. And as I say, Professor Sugata Mitra is going to be talking to us tomorrow about how he built a granny cloud, because we want to build a creative carer cloud. So that people who haven't had kids yet, the creative, cool, trendy hipsters in Shoreditch in London and the creative quarter, the Baltic creative up in Liverpool, how those people who haven't got kids yet, who are bursting with creativity, maybe could adopt a child from somewhere else in the country who doesn't have parents, or whose parents are busy or don't do creativity or whatever. And we can build this network of creative carers, as well as people who've retired, who've got a lot to give but can't leave their home, particularly in the current climate, or people who have got kids and want to help other people's kids as well, famous people. So we're going to build a creative carer cloud, and that's what the Rocket Kid Club's all about. And it's all part of the launch event tomorrow. That's all. I mean, there's so many people speaking, and we've got another 20. I just didn't have time to get them all in, and you didn't do a very good job either. Sorry about that. It's the UK Art Takeover from Steamco and other creative carers. It's what we're all about, connecting communities to inspire children with creativity. The event tomorrow, the theme is If Art Connects, Why Art Now? It's no longer a Parliament event, it's a pretend or an imaginary Parliament event, and we're absolutely delighted to have the support of all those amazing people, all those amazing speakers, and we hope you'll join us. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock, it's totally free. We have got some tickets there if anybody wants to buy one to create a donation for us, because we're doing this on fumes. We have little fuel left in the barrels. We have no income for the next few months. If you want to help us with a couple of quid, if your company wants to sponsor us to help us put more of our drop trucks on the road over the summer periods, where we're going to put people like me, heaven forbid, on the road, travelling around, running creative activities, pop-ups as we have done over the last year, then let's talk. Drop me an email. I'll always answer an email from somebody who wants to collaborate, because this year is all about collaboration, inspired by 3 amazing people. Richard Gerver, a leading educationalist, former head teacher, author, broadcaster, writer, who's been incredibly generous, who wrote a book this year called Education, a Manifesto for Change, and the core theme was collaboration. The collaboration we've seen with Nishma Robb, as you heard earlier from Google. She's our second inspiring person, and the third person is Nile Rodgers, that amazing singer, who said to us that creativity is his lifeblood, but